a lot of attacking rounds. It's going to come down to a step up in performance from Speakeasy.
Yeah, everybody's got to perform for this one. These are the top 2 teams of the region, undefeated. They're playing so well. Guts came in and surprised everybody at the start of all this, because we're looking at like Fav and Cyclops and Norengo from Japan. Well, here they are, Guts fighting against everyone. Let's take a look at our map ban. Reminder, 7-map pool. Ban all the way down to Clubhouse for Decider. Okay.
I'm not surprised.
Okay, so Guts had the last ban. They removed Villa instead of Clubhouse. Guys, you both are not surprised, as you're saying. Why? Go through it.
What made me laugh the most seeing that was Villa and Club were the last 2 in there. Both of these teams played Club in game 1. They played Villa in the next map as well. And then the third map, although we saw Giants going back to Club, Guts kind of stepped away from their comfort zone a bit and went towards Consulate. Very close game against Cloud9, but I think both of these teams coming back to Club just shows they are definitely Club teams. They play it the most, they win it the most. I'm absolutely not at all surprised to see that these were the final 2 maps left over.
Yeah, I very much agree with that. Clubhouse is where we will see which team really takes the top spot moving forward. I'm really interested to see how they play it. And I'm actually more interested to see who starts on attack. That might sway things a bit, Des.
Yeah, actually. While you guys take a look at that, I'll just remind everybody that Clubhouse currently has become one of the most played maps in all of the league globally. It's just a map that requires technical knowledge, but also gives you options for roaming, options for flanking. We've seen how new operators introduced have allowed you to kind of ban out Thatcher, for example, bring in a Kali if you need. We've seen the Maverick and his impact on the map. We've seen even ops from the base game still being effective to this day. We've seen a lot of button sledge. These are not things that are going to change, and Clubhouse is that all-rounder map that we have currently in the meta game. Let's take a look at what people think about this matchup. Of course, you guys don't know what the map is. This is kind of the beauty of it. At R6 Esports APAC is where you go for 57% to Guts, 43% to Giants. Looks like the Japanese fans are definitely pulling for this one here, boosting their squad. 57. No ties, by the way, in APAC. As you saw in the first 2 games, everything goes to overtime. There's always a winner. Win-loss ratio matters, but it will reset by next Thursday. Closing thoughts. What do you guys think will happen in this one? Operators, players to highlight, and scoreline.
Oh, where do we start,
I'm just going to throw a scoreline out there. I think it's a Guts game. Last time I saw Giants play on Clubhouse, I was a little bit unimpressed in their attacks. So I'm throwing it to Guts. It's not going to go overtime. I reckon it'll be 7-4.
I'm reckoning Giants. In this one, I think it's probably not going to go overtime as well, but I'm saying probably 7-5. Either way, you are in for a really close fixture. We keep on saying for these teams, so far we've seen them go 7-5, 8-6, 8-6 again, 7-5. They always take things down to the wire because they're very good at some things, not so much at others. It's going to be who can break out of that mold today.
Yes, how good have been your predictions for today? I haven't checked your Twitter.
I am okay so far, I think. In fact, no, it's a lie. Scars have upset me. I thought Fnatic could take that last one, I think, as everyone did. So forgive me for that one, but the first one was right, at least.
You've already doubled your scoreline on predictions. So.
Well, I'm lucky, right? It seems to be in APAC I do well. It's just don't get me predicting EU games because that is where I am genuinely a curse, right? I don't think I've got a single prediction right in EU so far across any of the play days.
Okay, so we might want to, take your predictions with a pinch of salt for this one. Let's head into game, though. Giants versus their big opponents here. Let's head it into game. Throw it forward. Guts v Giants, all yours. Club.
Thank you, Milos. Oh my goodness, it is finally here. The 2 undefeated teams so far in APAC North League are going head-to-head, and it's Clubhouse, a map that, well, we've seen quite a lot of here in APAC North. Geo, we're still both recovering from that previous map, but I know this one will certainly not disappoint either. It is Guts versus Giants, the team from Japan versus the team from Singapore, with a lot of promise going into this game.
I was going to say, we're both still reeling from that last game, and we've seen 2 overtime games so far today. So part of me is preparing myself for the off chance that we see that again here. As you say, the 2 highest ranked teams so far in APAC North, they haven't had a loss yet. They've been doing incredibly well. So what's to say that they're not going to potentially go to that? But starting things off here in the operator ban phase, and naturally Thatcher is going to find himself disappearing out of this game.
But the question is, do we see that Maverick taken out as well, or will that be in the arsenal. Oh, okay, no surprises here. I think Lunar Metal just tweeted earlier today that it's he said, the year is 2031 and it's been 500 days since I last played Montaigne. Apparently everyone going up against Lunar Metal doesn't want to let him get his hands on that shield, and for good reason. We've seen how it could be so powerful in that last series with Scars, and man, if you give it to Giants, there's no telling what's going to happen. So smart move from Guts, but of course banning out that means that the Maverick does stay in the pool, and so hard breaching a lot of these walls, especially the hatches in particular as well, will definitely be possible.
It's going to be interesting to see how this works out because, of course, Guts are going to be starting off on the attack. And if you go all the way back to Playday 1, where they played that fateful game against Xavier, where there was a constant back and forth, followed by a load of really decisive round takes by Guts, it was on their attacking half that they found so much of that success. So if they can kick things off well and hit the ground running on this half, Giants might find themselves going up against quite a titan. And you would expect this to really be the team that could provide that upset because of where they are both ranked right now. But just having a look at what these two teams are choosing to bring, it is going to be going down to the basement first. And Hysterix has opted to bring the Capcan, which is something we've seen a little bit of in APAC, but not a ton.
No, it's funny that it's on Hysterix as well. He's been one of the best players so far in APAC North League. He's got the best KD out of anyone at plus 23 at the moment. Also the best average cost, which is how many rounds, or how many percentage of rounds you get either a kill, plant the objective, survive the round, or get traded. And he's at 81% at the moment, tied with Envy Taylor. Now, playing the Capcan, very uncommon pick, particularly on this bomb style. I think, in particular, Hysterix is going to try and stay alive, or stay hidden, rather, for as long as possible, so that the attackers aren't aware that there is a Capcan on the board. And you'll notice he's putting a lot of those improvised explosive device, IED traps. I was going to say something else.
I was just going to say booby traps.
Yeah, that's probably easier. He's going to put a lot of these booby traps, in particular close to sight, because as we know, Guts, they like to rush in at the last moment, and even when there's just a few seconds left, they're so good at these late round entries into sight. But of course, with Capcan traps around, it'll be much more difficult for Guts to do that. So I really like that specific counter pick from Giants.
I think it's actually really interesting you mentioned that because we're of course seeing Giants bring the castle along and very early pick there onto Yura, no less, and he's actually been one of those players who's really shown up. JJ turned things around there, so Speakeasy will be going. But one thing that Xavier did when they were going against Guts was they tried to do this SSG style roam. They brought the castle and Guts completely ignored it. They just straight away rushed in, as you said, and it's very indicative of their playstyle that they like to do that. So seeing Giants will kind of move back in towards the site because they know that that's what's going to happen, especially as they've lost a man at this point.
Indeed, it's a full default back to the bomb site. Now we notice Jordan opening up some holes above the church wall. Now Lunar Metal does have a C4 in pocket that he can toss through the little gap that's been created above that reinforced wall and all the way down to the bottom main stairs. Thank you very much, Easy, and that'll take out any player that's trying to take refuge there on the attacking side. So I like that from Giants. Very common strategy these days. But as we look to Guts and how their attack is progressing, they've got map control. Pretty effective use of time here to clear out this heavy roam style, SSG style roam with your Mute Mozzie Castle. Try and delay as much time as possible. Guts are still just getting the rest of it, as you can see, droning out Lounge at the moment. But I would say overall, not that poor timing from Guts, but in particular with Giants having 4 players survive up until this much in the round, that's what is really going for them.
Trying to see Crazy Papillon here try and get some of that damage through the floor as he took some on his commute through. Not going to be able to get anything though, so he's going to begin to move on down those stairs. Potentially try and hold some of those early angles if he can get some on the members of Giants. The kitchen floor is going to begin to be opened. We are seeing this Buck come in instead of the Sledge, which means only the Maverick is going to be bringing along those revered frag grenades, and that's going to be the kitchen hatch being opened, provided it doesn't get... Okay, no, it doesn't. But there is going to be a C4, in fact, and so Lily will be going down. No more of that floor will be able to be opened there by that Buck, as he is no longer in play.
But as you mentioned, that kitchen hatch opening is very pivotal here for Guts, but only a few seconds left. Trying to plant inside. What is this from Crazy Papillon? He just goes from the main stairs, the Capcan trap. It works. Only 2 players left from Guts. Crazy does get that kit down on the ground. Now JJ trying to cover from the hatch, can find one. There you go, looking for the second. It's all on JJ now, the most experienced player here on the Guts lineup, formerly of Norengo. He's on the support. We know how good he is, but he has to clutch. And there are 2 players from Giant ready to refrag him upstairs. Ysera harassing him from below. Jordan gonna sprint on past, but there you go. He'll find the shots, and Giants managed to successfully get that disable onto the diffuser. And a pretty comfortable retake for the Singaporeans.
Yeah, they had no problems there with just rushing on up the stairs and being aggressive. At the end of the day, it was only one player they had to deal with, and JJ didn't know entirely where that damage was going to be coming in from, especially as you still had some of those players remaining below, and he could have been taking some in through the floor. But that was still a pretty good round there for Guts. Evidently going to have to tighten a couple of things up. Most meaningful, I would say, is that early loss of Yura, who could provide a lot of value to the team, has done in the past. You don't want to be taking all that early damage like that. But moving on to the next site, and it is going to be Gym Bedroom. The Bandit 6-pick off, so are they going to go with the mirror? They are going to go with the mirror indeed. So instead of having the electrification, which, you know, you don't have the Thatcher, but you do have the Maverick, so kind of questionable as to whether that would be seriously as effective as one would hope. Instead, with bringing the mirror, you'll be able to place those mirror windows, potentially here in the bathroom, maybe even one on the jacuzzi wall, depends where it is they, you know, have their preference. More often you see it placed in the bathroom, and they'll be able to hold back Giants with, hold back Guts with pressure from that perspective.
I bet you a lot of people are looking at this right now thinking, why Gym and Bedroom? Why not Cash and CCTV? Well, if you look at the stats from Clubhouse overall in the APAC North League, Bedroom actually has a better defensive win rate than Cash and Gym, just by 3%, so it's very marginal, but it's been played significantly less as well, so it goes to show maybe there are just some specific teams that do favor this bomb site, whereas more teams would be practiced at attacking at Cash CCTV, and in particular, when the Maverick is on the board, it's quite easy to get open that kennel wall, which can make this Gym bomb site more favorable relatively, but that mirror window placed there on the bathroom wall, in particular, I'll be looking at Lily this round, who's the buck. Wow, early engagement. Luna gets a bit overzealous there, and the Wamai to go down means that his Frisbees will no longer regenerate, and that's quite a significant amount of utility lost very early from Giants.
Yeah, when you're bringing 9 flashes, the Ash Breach charge, the Lifeline, and the frags, having something like that that can eat those projectiles up, pretty key. So that off the board will significantly weaken Giants here. And I want to kind of hark back to something you were saying just then about site preferences. When you look at Giants' track record so far here in the APAC North Division, this is the site that they have been able to win all of the times they've been. So far, that's only been twice, but as a percentage, that's the highest that they've done it. And they also haven't ever had one of their opponents plant here. So evidently they do feel quite confident. Now, whether or not that confidence will dwindle, given that they had that first loss on their team, that's another question to be asked. Guts still yet to push on in. So Giants are still looking out to see where they're going to come from.
Now, I mentioned the buck earlier. I'm going to be looking at Lily to try to counter this mirror window from Speakeasy in the bathroom. Perhaps Crazy Papillon's going to do that job. Almost gets caught out by Hysterics, but to find his second kill on the round is Crazy. And there you go, that Ash charge to open up that angle. Let's see if Crazy can pop the mirror window as well. Perfect stuff from the Ash, doing his job exactly as described. But Speakeasy says, you can take my window, I'm going to take your life. And finally, Giants shut down that player from Guts.
At the very least, you know that the job was done before, you know, you got taken out and go a lot of these projectiles, and actually one's going to be landing there on Light. Another tragic death, as I don't believe Light got all that much time standing in the last round either. That leaves just Yura, Lily, and JJ here remaining on the side of Guts, trying to capture in these angles. Don't know exactly where their opponents are. Just want to see if any of them are trying to hold back. 3 for 3. Go those flashes, but the smoke's going to come out, and that's going to be kind of difficult here as JJ moves in, but he's going to go for the defuse anyway. Yura's pretty low HP, but trying to provide that cover as the defuse goes down, which it does so successfully, and now Giants are in that plant situation. JJ getting a key kill there onto Ysera, and this Goyo shield's still standing, but Lily's going to be taking a significant amount of damage. Are Giants going to be able to turn this round around? Well, Speakeasy does get a kill there, Yura falling, and this is where the disable starts to happen.
Surely not. This might be able to happen here. The plant, though, denied there from JJ. Once again, trying to clutch this round for his team. Giants have done so well to bring this back, but I don't think this is possible. Jordan, he peeks out and gets the kill. Flashed or not flashed, it doesn't matter. Jordan can clutch this up for Giants and maintain that win rate there on the gym and bedroom for Giants.
So, you know, looking at the statistics, they now can say that an opponent was able to plant, but they can say that they were able to disable that diffuser as well. So now that's going to mean that we will be moving over to CCTV and Cash. And after a pretty clean first 2 rounds, you'd believe that Giants will be feeling pretty good, especially as I mentioned at the start, that Guts have a proven track record of being strong on the offense on this site, on this map, overall. And so far, they failed to secure either of their first offensive rounds. So let's see if they can try and turn things around here on this next site.
Yeah, in particular, I want to point out Crazy Papillon had a really strong round. Not only did he find the first pick onto Luna very early on and also following up a second one onto Hysterics while clearing bar, but to disable that mirror window position from below using that breaching round and then shoot through the floor and pop the canister. Really impactful plays from Guts. But you'll notice Giants, they weren't too phased. When Guts started to dismantle some of those positions like that, Giants just rotated around and they're not like, oh no, if my position is compromised, I am dead. I'm just going to keep trying to play it even though it's unfavored. No, not at all. Speakeasy started to move into a different position where he could be more well utilized. He actually managed to refrag Crazy Papillon through the floor as well. So been super impressed by Giants and how they've dealt with these core scenarios, and that's one of the key reasons as to why they've managed to counter defuse 2 rounds in a row and disable that after the plant goes down.
Well, now Guts are beginning to make their move in. We'll see if the Maverick able to open this wall successfully. You'd hope so. Obviously, it's... Wow, okay. Early smoke. That's going to dissuade him from acting on that too much. Trying to get into those shots there. And we're going to start to see the upside down repel. JJ just getting ready to use the exothermic charge instead. But again, hear you coughing, and you're just in solidarity with these players who are getting smoked out here, and Hysterics is going to back off somewhat. Actually, nothing to protect him there. Usually you see something like a shield be placed, but he's been able to get away pretty free from that. There's that last toxic big... But they do finally get the wall open.
That's actually really good from Giants. From Guts. The strategy here for Giants is... Oh, wait. Surely this pick... Oh, so close there for Speakeasy. But what I was going to say is the strat from Giants here is trying to delay that wall getting open for as long as possible, because Guts are fairly confident at mavericking that open, so just delay that with the smoke babes as long as possible. But for Guts to then change their strategy and go for the thermite charge instead of the maverick torch means that they've just made up for all of the time that Giants tried to steal away from them. So I really like that.
Have recovered their diffuser.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And actually, you're seeing a lot of the players of Giants here get very bunched up at the top of red stairs as they start to move down. Going to be going on a kind of wide rotate here, setting up at the bottom.
Actually picked up his Goyo shield from downstairs and brings it up to the top mid position so that when Guts do eventually start to take that control or try to execute onto site, they've got a bit more utility where it's needed.
And now Guts can start to move in here from logistics. This is where Crazy Papillon's holding onto his angle through into the site. So far can't see anyone, but he knows that shield is in there. Just going to be clearing out the utility so that he can prepare his breach charge and be able to get rid of that for the rest of his team to act on it. There's Hysterics having to move out the way, and remember, he doesn't have any of those smokes left as he used them very early in the round, so he can't rely on that denial. But Luna's going to be able to get a shot there onto JJ. Luckily, we did see the Thermite already use the exothermic to get that wall open, so we know that he's seen value from this round already, but just 16 seconds left, and Guts still have to move on into this site, which has quite a heavy presence here, and this is what we're seeing from Giants. A couple of kills coming out from them. Hysterics does get refragged, but there's still this presence here from Giants, and it doesn't take long for them to completely hold back Guts, who, while they managed to adapt in the early round and figure out their way in the mid round, they weren't able to clear things out in the late round. And when you're going up against a full team who are sitting at the top here in this region, it makes it pretty hard to break into that site.
Gotta say, things are looking pretty flawless so far for Giants. And yes, it might have gotten close on the first 2 rounds, forcing Giants into a retake. But I mean, Cash there was even more convincing than the prior rounds. And part of that, I guess you could say, was that, I mean, you could point the finger at Guts and say, look, it was a 4 versus 5 with only 15 seconds left. That's poor time management. But at the same time, we kind of know that to be Guts' playstyle. Usually when they're executing at the last minute, they're just really good at it. And they can find a lot of entries and overwhelm the defense quite successfully. But they were very much unable to do that, despite the fact that Giants had no gas canisters left from the smoke. And that was quite significant, I think. If your Guts right there, you're like, okay, they have no gas, surely we can just go in and refrag this. But Giants had moved around that utility, the Goyo shields, to protect themselves at top red, to prevent any kind of peek in from the kennels door. And Guts just really found it difficult to manage to get their teeth into Giants on those anchor positions. And I've got to say, credit to Giants to be able to hold the fort like that. And from Guts' perspective, really struggling to clear out that util on site. So many ADSs, so many magnets, and it just goes to show why it's so important that Lunar Metal, or in this case, it was Speakeasy on that round who ran the Wamai. You need to stay alive as long as possible to get the most bang for your buck out of that util.
I'm very interested here in the fact that Giants have opted to bring a Kaid. You often see those electric claws get used on the hatches, but of course Maverick's still available, which suggests that he'll still be able to get them open. So what I suspect is they're going to try and focus on one of the hatches and prevent the Thermite from being able to get his job done. You don't have any impact grenades on the defense here, so they're going to have to rely on that to be more of a denial than they would otherwise on potentially tricking like you've seen in the past. But with 3 C4s, that could be another way that they're able to bring down these members of Guts, especially you see that a lot in the kitchen. Yura not quite going to be able to get that early pick as he looks down into blue, and you see Giants moving, making their rotations as Hysterics base down here on the Wamai, and he should have those discs, frisbees, pancakes, whatever you want to call them, available to him. Remember, he got taken out pretty quickly, or at least whoever was playing the Wamai before got taken out pretty quickly, and that meant that those were no longer available to Giants on that first round.
And the thing that's really changed... Oh, what is that? Jordan! The Goyo to find 2 C4 kills? I mean, you can credit Jordan for that, but I also want to credit Lunar Metal walking around there with the cardiac sensor, calling out to his teammates and enabling those kills. That is just perfect from Giants. And now we're talking about Guts trying to execute. Yes, they still have their hard breaches, but in terms of soft breach and explosives, they're just looking at Yura, and he's pushing down blue, trying to get a little cheeky entry here. Lands a few shots into Ysera's backside, but Hysterics doesn't overextend. Smart move there. He knows his team is in the advantage, and Yura would be ready for that peak.
Well, finally Guts be able to get their revenge somewhat as Speakeasy down, but they still are at that disadvantage, feeling the sting still from what happened with C4. The church wall does get open. There's another C4 kill there coming out from Giants as JJ does go down, but there's going to be a couple of kills from the side of Guts, still feeling weak. 2 versus 2. Well, make that a 1 versus 2 as just Light is here remaining. He hasn't got any of those frag grenades left. And he's going up against the Goyo, who obviously is no longer holding a C4, and the Kai didn't bring one either. So those projectiles aren't going to be an option. He's got to figure out where his opponents are, and there is the potential for this crossfire. If he decides to move here into Arsenal, but he does get that shot there onto Jordan, he's going to go in for the plant. Is he going to bait it out and see if he can turn things around here onto Zero? Is he going to go for the full thing? Nope, he gets it down. There's the Goyo shield that's going to be put down, but is Zero even going to be able to get this? Yes, he is. He's just going to have to wait for that fire to die down before he can now go in and get the disable. And that was so close. In fact, he even let him have the defuse in the first place. But he can just deal with this. Time ticking down. Giants, they take yet another round.
It's just as bad as close as it's gotten for Guts. Mind you, they did have that gym defense where they had to retake in a 2v2, but gotta say there, I'm impressed by Guts to make it as close as it was. After losing 2 players to a C4 at the very start of the round, Guts said, look, you've taken out a lot of our soft breaches, which makes a kitchen-centric attack very difficult because it's tough to clear out the pulse below when you can't open up the floor with the bark. So instead, let's just rotate. Open up the church wall with your thermite exothermic charges. And Guts managed to pull that off, and as well as that, they managed to get a few strong kills onto the bomb site, onto those anchors around church. And, well, we also looked at Yura a little bit to flank through blue, but wasn't super impactful from that position. In the end, Light in a 1v2. I mean, I was surprised that you even managed to make it a 1v1 and get the plant down, but Ysera with nerves of steel, they're not to overextend. Play the patient game and win it out with the Org. Very nice stuff there from Giants. And looking at this now, Giants up 4-0 on their defense. Now, yes, you might say Clubhouse is defensive sided, and in fact, one of the few maps here in APAC North that has been defensive sided, but only marginally. I'm talking 53%. So even if Guts can win the next 2 rounds on the attack, that's still only a 40% win rate on Guts' attack, which is, what is that, 7% worse than average. So Giants, no matter what happens now, are already setting themselves up really well in this best-of-1 series. 5 seconds to go.
Did you take 40 away from 53 to get 7?
No,
that'd be
I added
13.
7 to 53 to get 60, which is then the opposite of 40.
Okay.
Don't question my maths, all right? I know you have a degree in physics. I don't care.
No, like, I get so stressed out about doing maths live because there's more pressure on me because I have a degree in physics. You'd expect me to be able to do it, and most of the time I cannot. But no, back here to gym and bedroom, and remember what happened last time. There's that excellent clutch at the end, and one thing I actually wanted to point out was that it must be incredibly frustrating here for Guts. In fact, they've been able to get 3 plants now, and they've all been disabled. At that point, you're meeting the objective, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're just not strong enough. There aren't enough members of your team left at the end to be able to deal with the onslaught that comes from the defense. That's something they're going to have to be more careful about this time. And one thing that they did there were a couple of issues on the last time they came to this site, one of them being they still left some of those shields up, which they could have used against the defensive side and burned out that utility. You never want to be allowing your defenders to have more utility than they really need to be. So Guts coming around here to the other side of the map to get that CCTV wall open. Ysera's ready and waiting, and he is behind one of these Vulcan shields. And then it's going to be in the flashes to try and clear out those ABS. And we're going to see Ysera making this rotation round so that they don't know his exact location. Oh, he's going to be looking at... Be careful. If they walk through that door, they're just going to see you.
Ysera soloing Cash at the moment, which I understand the thought process here. If Ysera dies, that's only 1 player lost. That's not too bad. Surely you don't peek this light. Surely you don't peek this light. Surely you don't peek this light. No, he does. But Ysera looks away at the wrong time. And finally, that is Cash cleared here for Guts. Nice use of that blowtorch. But overall, I'd still say Giants are actually doing better than the last time they defended this, where Guts got the early pick onto Lunar Metal, and they also countered that mirror window in Bathroom without too much time. And now Guts really tunnel visioning here on this Cash and CCTV side, with no one actually ready to start pressuring from Kennels. Or rather from the Jacuzzi side or from that south balcony. So Guts really need to get a move on here, make some rotations. Crazy Papillon finally starting to drone in here, but they need to step it up.
Yeah, they've got less than a minute remaining and still all but one of the members of Giants standing. In go those lifelines, but the smokes are also coming out as well. That's not going to make it any easier for Guts to make their move on in, and you can see they're still looking at the drones. Luna holding straight onto here, but actually he's not going to win out in that 1 versus 1. Ooh. Yura will be refragged, and so still Giants are holding onto the site here, and 12 seconds remaining. Guts have got to jump in. They have the man advantage. They should be able to do this, but no. Giants turning things around. They're getting 2 kills here. Can they make it a 3rd? Well, can they make it a 3rd? Yes, they can. Diffuser has been dropped, and Giants, they just clear up shop. And I think one of the things you said there, Dev, was particularly poignant, and that was, you know, they've put so much effort in on the eastern side of the map to open up, you know, CCTV wall. They kind of tunnel vision. They took all of their team so that they could deal with just 1 person who was there in Cash. And then suddenly they had to spend so much time making the rotation over to the south balcony and over to Jacuzzi to try and actually make the engage. And by that point, there was less than a minute remaining of the round. It was poor time management, I have to say.
I think Guts did tunnel vision a bit there, and I mean, they didn't have the opening pick. They didn't pop the mirror window. They wanted to go for an entirely east side push instead of pressuring from Jacuzzi. Well, they did eventually pressure from Jacuzzi, but it was just way too late, as you noticed. And in particular, Giants had the mirror window facing into logistics from Master Bedroom, protection from the shield as well, meant that it was very difficult for Guts to do a push through logistic, which is imperative when Guts are going for an east side centric push. You need to have logistics office. That way you can cut off top main stairs, you can cut off a lot of rotations, and you can pressure that dark spot in the corner where the mirror window was. So overall from Guts, bit one-dimensional, and even though they found the opening pick, they were definitely not in the advantage. Giants are looking so good right now, and can I just say, I think going into this league, the favored teams were obviously Giants, APAC champions from Season 10, which was, albeit, last October, quite a long time ago, nearly a year. And then maybe CAG, Cyclops, who are the proven best team from Japan, or at least we would have thought so, until Guts took them down just last week. And maybe Fnatic, right? Well, Giants beat Fnatic 8-6 in week 1. They beat CAG 7-5 just a few days ago. Now they're beating Guts, and in my opinion, Guts is the only other team in the league that can hold a candle to Giants. And if Giants can go 6-0 here, maybe they're just in a league of their own.
I mean, the players that you have here on Giants have such pedigree in and of themselves, but they are, of course, being coached by Gig, who used to be of Na'Vi, and he was coaching them when they won Tokoname. So certainly a lot of talent on this team, and no surprise to know that they're doing so well in this tournament. Now, this is a very similar situation to what we had last time we came to this site, where those smokes are being expended early as the Maverick begins to open up the wall. And I'll be interested to see if they do switch out to have JJ places exothermics. Now, obviously, that would require trying to deal with the Electroclaw, which is significantly harder, given that you don't have a Thatcher and they haven't brought a Kali. So at this point, they've sort of been forced to rely on that Maverick, and so much of this time is going to be burned as a result.
Yeah, and I don't think that Light managed to pull off that Maverick trick quite effectively. The line at the bottom was not straight, and I think there are a couple of spots he missed, so still very difficult. He's actually going to try and use a nade to clear off the util. We saw that there was actually a magnet placed there, so maybe that didn't even work. Finally, he gets the job done. And the Buck to finish opening the soft part of the wall there for Guts. Now, still, this is some good control, but very, very slow. Ysera, though, doesn't have the shield. What is this? Surely, Luna, you can't get away with that. And Luna does get taken down, but there's a refrag. Ysera to hold things down. And Giants, I think with them rotating their utility now, Hysterics has cover to prevent a con push. Speakeasy still hasn't been flushed out of Garage. Like, we need to see Guts make some significant openings here, take out a player like Speakeasy. Otherwise, I just don't see them being able to crack this egg.
You mentioned how Speakeasy needs to be taken down. He finally does, as Lily gets that kill, but not before Speakeasy was able to get one of his own. And yeah, you mentioned all these things that Guts need to be doing. Less than a minute remaining, and they're still struggling. Obviously, that CCTV wall hasn't been properly opened, and so you do have Light still just playing from the outside, doing what he can, cooking those nades, but so far, nothing has been used to great effect. JJ's going to be opening up the garage wall here, and that should provide a bit more of a line of sight, but less than 20 seconds remaining. They still need to get off this plant. In he moves. Down he's going to stop putting it, but he's lost his cover as Lily goes down to that C4. He is going to get the diffuser, but Light, is he going to get the kill? Yes, he is. He gets it on Hysterics. Two more to go. Not quite going to be able to land it there on the Kaid. Ysera is bleeding out, but he's going to be raised up. Can they get these last two players and prevent Giants from being able to get the disable?
Jordan's going to rotate over to Garage, potentially to run out and take out Light. But Light is very much aware of that angle. No, in fact, Jordan decides to flank back upstairs now to top rafters. Guts are playing this so passive, but time is ticking away. Giants have to start defusing now. Ysera can't get off it. He has to start it and stick it. All Guts has to do is take out Ysera. That's the round one. Guts, it might have taken them some time, but finally they get one round on the board in their first half.
securing themselves the win they were desperately after on those rounds. And I find it incredibly interesting how that was really a round where you could see the adaptations being made there by Giants. They said, okay, we saw what you did with juggling your hard breaches last time we came to this site. We're going to put a Kaid in your way to make it even harder for you to have access to this wall. We're going to make it harder for you to have control over Garage. Speakeasy's in there and he's going to tear you up. But actually, Guts were able to figure out their way around that and put Giants in a position where if they wanted to get that disable, as they have been able to do 3 times prior to this round, they had to put themselves in a positional disadvantage, and that's what happened. Guts finally got those kills they needed and took the round. Now, obviously, a little bit unfortunate that they were only able to secure one of those attacking rounds, especially as they looked so strong on the attack in previous times they've come here. And so it did be a bit of a question mark about their defensive rounds, because that hasn't been where their success stories have been told so far here in the APAC North Division. But I'm not writing them out just yet. I think they've had plenty of time to learn, and this does look like a team who have the ability to learn and adapt. They wouldn't be at the top of the standings were that not the case.
I think you make a great point about Guts on their attacking side. It does tend to be, as with most Japanese teams, where they shine, and they certainly do not shine in their attacks here on Clubhouse against Giants. So that is really what we're looking at right now. Guts, you need to step it up here on the defense. You can't let Giants walk all over you. Even one round here is too much to concede and would put Giants on match point. Of course, we do have overtime here in APAC, so there's a total possibility here that Guts can make a full comeback, and it'll have to be settled in that best of 3 round overtime. But I don't think Giants are going to let it get there. Not after such a strong first half. We'll look to their attack to speak louder than words. Speak easy. The first one to get in things and starts moving in from garage side. Overall, Giants just clearing the map at the moment, watching these rotations. Love this angle all the way from up in bedroom. Jordan looking down through that main stairs flank. We know how much these Japanese teams like Guts like to play aggressively. For the most part, it's an anchor-centric defense. Also another lovely angle in through stock to open up the blue hatch. Beautiful stuff there from Jordan.
Oh, it makes me feel some type of way when you see all these nice little angles be held that you know is going to cause a problem for the attack. I mean, maybe it's a little bit sadistic to sit there and be like, I know that's going to make your life difficult. But that's one of the great things about watching competitive Rainbow Six Siege. And you're seeing Jordan here. He's getting droned down those main stairs. And that's why this C4 is getting prepared here by Light, because they know there is that presence down there. But when is he going to make the option to throw it? Well, deciding not to go for it just yet. There's actually these players of... Well, okay, I was going to say these players of Giants are hanging back a bit, but no. Not right now.
No!
Oh,
Okay. So, like, trying to get that C4, but lacking a bit of information, mainly because JJ is getting pressured from above now. JJ on the cardiac sensor was the player to try and call out that there was someone at the bottom of the main stairs. But now Light used his C4. Giants can feel a little bit safer, but you can see how cautious Luna and Ysera are trying to exact that position. And there's actually a soft wall there. Okay, I didn't quite realize that, but smoked off now and fired off. Ysera going to start opening the wall. Surely not. Light going to get caught out there by Luna. Great stuff there for Giants. Establishing that man advantage fairly early on in the round. Still 50 seconds to execute here with access to the bomb sites.
Of course, the soft wall there to help out the mirror window, but it doesn't really matter if your mirror is going to be going down, especially after she didn't secure the C4 kill. We're seeing Crazy Papillon start to move up, but he's going to get stunned out, and Speakeasy gets a kill out onto Yura. Some trades going in and out, but Giants are just moving on into the site here, and they're starting to clean up. They don't even need to start putting down the plant, as they just finish up those kills that are required, and they take their first attacking round.
And that puts Giants on match point here. It looks like nobody can stop the Giants of APAC so far in this league. We thought that maybe if Cyclops couldn't do it, if Fnatic couldn't do it, then maybe Guts would be the team to stand in their way. But so far, Giants are not slowing down. All they need is one attack round here, and they have 5 match points to get the job done. Giants out of Singapore were the original best team in APAC. way back in the day before there was a pro league. These guys, or at least Ysera and Lunametal from the team, went to 6 Invitational 2017, the very first SI. And there was a bit of a turbulent period there where Giants fell from grace, and it looks like they're back on top where they like to be.
And they've really been building themselves up recently. You mentioned SI 2017. They did, of course, play in SI 2020. They did go out in the group stages where they played Group C. That was the one where we had a lot of LATAM. So, you know, they're two very different regions coming against each other. But since then, they've been on a tear. And I think it's definitely worth noting the fact that they're going up against Guts here. Guts have, on paper, been their biggest rivals, right? Because they're both sat at the very top. The fact that so far they've been able to come away so much from Guts, it's not particularly close on the scoreboard, and obviously there's still time for things to change. But all that says is just how much Giants are looking dominant in this region. So gonna have to see how they go about this attack here onto Gym Bedroom. Evidently, Guts have decided to bring the Bandit. So those batteries will be placed there on the jacuzzi wall, which can't be shot out by something like an Ash. But an Ash isn't even going to be brought. Instead, they're going for the Capital and going to be going for the method of flushing out those members of the defensive team instead of using those breach rounds.
I do just want to, since we're talking about the legacy of Giants, I do just want to point out that this is the first full season where Giants has had a coach. Previously, it was just Lunametal sorting the team out as captain and coach and babysitter and everything. But now Gig, the Pro League champion graduate from Na'Vi, has come to support this team over from the UK, and it seems to really have helped them out.
The fact they were even able to get to SI without a coach kind of says all you need to know about the sheer talent on this team, and now they have that more streamlined ability. Seeing Yura here coming down for a bit of a flank. He's obviously going to be carrying one of those C4s. You can see one has been expended already by JJ, not able to get any kills as every member of Giants is still standing, but
he got... That was perfect. We didn't quite see that, but I noticed the drone from Ysera came in from that neon door on the left side of your screen, spotted out Yura, and then immediately the Bandit was forced to move straight into Jordan's crosshair. Beautiful stuff. Lunametal to also add to that, and now you've got Jordan below the objective with the skeleton key, ready to clear out those mirror windows. This could not look any better for Giants right now on match point.
It is looking very well for them. Crazy Papillon trying to hold on to the hatch here, but Giants have been doing a good job with droning things out, knowing exactly where their opponents are. And there's the fire lighting up in bedroom. That's going to make it hard should Lily decide that he wants to move in. JJ still trying to hold here at the window, but he's going to be taking a lot of damage. He does manage to secure himself the headshot in the meantime, though, but getting completely bullied there as Luna just forces his way in. And now there's just two members remaining here on the side of Guts. In goes another one of those bolts from the tactical crossbow. Smoke filling up the corridor. That means Luna can just hold that angle as Ysera comes in to try and get one. Gets it down. Is he gonna die? No, he's not. Crazy Papillon is. Only Lily is remaining. He gets one kill, but it's not enough. And Giants very dominantly managed to take themselves the series. And after a day of overtime rounds, Dev, I think this says a lot about the power of this team.
7-1. That's all that Guts could muster against Giants. The best possible team to contest against what appears to be the best team in Asia Pacific. That was a masterclass performance from Giants there, and it seems like they're not slowing down. 7-1 is the best scoreline that Giants have mustered so far in the APAC North League. And what I'm thinking right now is I bet you teams are going to be happy that the Swiss bracket is going to reset, because no one can take on Giants.
At this point, it doesn't look like it. Even some of those stats at the end, 10-3 for Jordan, 10-5 for Speakeasy, absolutely crazy. I bet the analysts had a great time watching that from behind the scenes, so I'm very excited to hear what they have to say. So let's hand it over to them.
Thanks so much, James and Gio. And James, I really have to